Yeah, take your shoesies off. Take your clip-clops off.
My clockers.
Those are some awesome clockers right there.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Check out the socks, though.
Oh, man. What a... Oh, it's a romantic scene. Oh, I like it.
Sex
It's
socks.
hot. I didn't expect to
No,
be
they're
seeing
famous
adult
paintings,
content before me. All right, so just start to slow your breathing.
I'm still chewing on these nerds.
It's all right. Let the exhale be nice and long. Activate the parasympathetic nervous system, letting your body and mind know that you're safe in this moment right here. For the next hour or so, you have nothing to worry about. Just talk about yourself. Anything happening outside this room is going to be just groovy when you get out of here. We're here in this moment together. Roll the shoulders up and back, poke the chest out. Here we are, world. Take three nice long exhale breaths. It's Bowl and Breffix time, baby. It's motherfucking Bowl and Breffix. The podcast. So
Yeah.
Harry Zelnick in the house.
What?
DJ Reason.
Oh, shit.
DJ Reason on the ones and twos.
Oh, my God.
So for the three
You did
people
some
out
deep
there.
research. You're doing your Nardwuar research.
So tell me about DJ Reason. Harry Zelnick. For the three people out there watching that still don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your fears?
It's going to be a long podcast. Well, my name is Harry Zelnick, like you said. In the music world, I go by Dirty Harry or DJ Reason. To those three people, those three other people might know me as DJ Reason. Yeah, I'm from Philly, and I'm a music producer and a father and a husband.
Yeah, you are.
And a friend.
Yeah, you are. I'm that last one. So who is DJ Reason?
Well,
And
DJ
what is the reason for that name?
The reasons that we're here. DJ Reason was so I recorded a hip hop album in my basement when I was 14 or 15, and I wasn't Dirty Harry at the time. DJ Reason was like my producer name, even though I wasn't really a real DJ. But
it flows. It works.
it flows, man. Just I don't know why I picked that. So I was that for that one album, and then I met Dre and Vidal, and Dre went by like Dirty Dre. So when they signed me, it made sense to call me Dirty Harry. Plus, I was like a dirty
It's
skateboarder.
like a family name.
Yeah, it was a family name. It was
We're of the Dirty Clan.
the clan name. Yeah,
Right. DJ Reason. Wow.
but that's
So
yeah,
there
that's
was
where it
no
came from.
reason for that name.
There was
It
absolutely
just-
no reason, and
it's
it was. You must have seen that on my fridge. I'm
Yeah.
guessing that's how you
Yeah,
got that.
yeah.
That's awesome.
That was the research.
So
I
it was
did.
like these grown ass men on that album too. These two guys named Crime and Felon, and they're-
sound like wholesome guys.
I think they're both in jail now. Actually.
Right.
And I don't know
Well, it
why, but
wouldn't
my
be-
parents let me like record an album in my basement with them, and they would be like, my sister would like come home and they'd like be eating all of our lunch meat in the kitchen.
Just scaring your sister.
Totally. And I tried to bring them with
This is
me.
crime.
This is Crime and this is Felon. Crime is definitely in jail. He was an intense guy. I know
Sure.
he's in jail.
I
for
mean, that's manifesting right there.
sure. Yeah.
Manifesting
exactly.
101.
Yep, he's definitely but Felon was actually a super nice guy. Yeah.
When is that felon chap coming over again?
Oh, that Felon was such a nice young man. He
Nice
used to
fellow.
eat- And he was Muslim too, but he'd eat all of our ham. I remember that.
He was an outlaw.
He was an outlaw,
literally.
dude.
He
Yeah.
didn't give a shit.
Yeah, so that was fun. It was a fun and weird time in my life for sure.
When did Nico's Gun come along?
That was later.
That was way later.
Yeah, like,
It's
so
adult life.
I think I was 15 when I was DJ Reason. I made 2 albums. I made one called Soul Sessions, which was kind of like jazzy, like DJ Shadow, DJ Crush kind of vibes. Like there was like live trumpets and stuff. And then I made like a hip hop album called Scarred City, and that's where Crime and Felon were in. So, and I was selling it on South Street for like a week, maybe even a couple days.
Were you just standing out there like
Yeah, like you know
handing
how
out
people
tapes?
hustle their CDs on South Street? Like, yo,
It's
can I-
rare these days.
It is rare, but back then it was more people actually listened to CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
But
So this was like, you're 4 years older than me. So this was probably like 2003.
yeah, maybe a little.
2004.
No, it had to be later than that. Maybe 2004 or 5. I
Yeah.
want to say.
So
But
that
I
was
don't- I
very
don't know.
much the CD.
The CD
CDs
era.
were the
It was like
thing.
mixtape eras.
Right.
But literally just a couple days selling it on South Street. I met a guy who knew this other guy who had got out of jail and was trying to go legit and was best friends with Andre Harris, who was Dre and Vidal. And they like did all the like neo soul stuff and like Michael Jackson. He did like Butterflies for Michael Jackson.
Wow.
So they brought me to the studio and I was playing those 2 albums, and then I played drums for them, and then they were like, oh yeah, we're signing you. And I think I was like 16, 15, something like that.
So
And
you
then I
had,
tried
like,
to bring
a-
all the rappers and stuff with me, and they were like, no, we don't want them. We just want you. We don't need Crime and Felon.
Yeah.
Uh,
So you've been in the biz for quite some time.
yeah. So that's when I started kind of legitimately making money off music. But it's funny, I wasn't into that. I wasn't into even, I really got lucky. I really just fell into the right place at the right time.
You
There
fell
was-
into
yeah.
the
Ooh.
right place.
It was a crime how easy it was. In
Just,
this
no
Scarred
reason
City
for
soul
it.
session.
It just all started happening.
And I had
Nico's
no
Gun I
idea what
asked
was
you
going
about,
on.
and you didn't answer it at all.
Oh, Nico's Gun.
Yeah.
So then I was a producer with Dre and Vidal for like 4 or 5 years, and I met Nick and Barney. I think I was like making beats for Lil Wayne, and I needed a guitar player, and we did a thing. But then we started hanging out more, and I was into weird, rock stuff, and was feeling like stifled making all this like pop R&B music, even though it was great.
Was
And-
Nick the guy with long hair? I remember there being a guy
Yeah,
with long hair.
Nick had long hair. He still does. Nick plays in this band Cage the Elephant now, who are pretty big. Shout out Cage the Elephant.
Little startup, little
Little beginning band.
fledgling band called Cage the Elephant.
Yeah. And he is also the godfather to my oldest son, Ravi.
Yeah.
And Barney's the godfather to my youngest son. So that I actually got to call Nick. But
That's
we're
family.
all still buddies.
Did we even, because I was trying to think of the timeline of our friendship, because I was in a Nico's Gun music video
Which one?
a long time before we met at your friend's house.
Damn.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
We have connections over years that we had no idea. So
What
I
song,
don't think
do you
we
remember?
spoke. I
Or
don't remember. It was
What was the video?
It was like a party setting at like the knitting factory or something.
Okay, yeah, that
one
was
of
our
those
loft. That was our
apartments.
apartment. You were in that video?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it was 2013, and I had Miley hair.
I had no
like
idea.
a fuckboy cut with the side shaved and like blonde hair.
So that was like our clubhouse. We lived there, and it was
Wow.
wild. It was like a big open space, and then there was little like cubbies. None of us had doors to our rooms. You could hear everybody fucking and whatever. It was like crazy. Mine was like right behind the thing. It was the weirdest room ever, but it was
I think we shot in a bedroom. We shot in the main space, and we shot in one of the bedrooms.
that was probably Andy's room, which was off to the right, because that was more like cool. He had like a fucking like a screen that came down. I think he paid like $50 more. Me and Barney had the worst possible rooms. Barney having the absolute
Just
worst.
wide open.
It was
space.
just like a closet with graffiti everywhere. Like,
That's cool.
but it was so fucking fun. That place
You got to
was
do it as a
amazing.
young artist. At some point, you got to live in a piece of
Oh
shit.
hell yeah!
like,
It was $200
place.
a month for each of us.
Yeah, was it called
it's
the knitting
huge.
the sewing factory?
Sewing factory, yeah.
In
And we
North
could
Philly,
rehearse in there. We could party every night.
Right.
The rent we would record in there. It was paradise, man. It was awesome.
Do you remember the director's name? I think his name is Brian something.
No, the director's name, because he's actually a big music video director now. His name is like he directed David Bowie's last music video before he died.
That video is incredible.
The
one where he has the buttons over his eyes and he's
okay,
has
no,
like
not
a
that one. The
bandage.
other one. The other one.
Because that was the last.
That was the last
video.
one. The one that was like 9 minutes long.
Yeah, and he's like in a hospital bed, and it's almost like.
Oh no, that is that one. He worked on that. He didn't direct it, but he worked on it.
That's such a chilling video because it was almost like he was predicting that he was going to die soon.
Well, he definitely knew he was. He was dying and didn't tell anyone. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Star Child or something.
Black Star.
Black Star.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Yeah, we have a lot of weird connections over the years.
I had no idea that you were in
that
that video.
Yeah, I was
that
very
video
much
was
in that
fun.
video. I guess obviously that answers my question that we did not meet that day.
I mean, we might have. Like,
Were you on drugs?
I was super on drugs at that time, for sure.
I think.
I mean,
was
from the
drinking at
beginning
that
of the
time,
band,
too.
I think actually the band was a way for me to just freely do drugs. Like my addiction was starting to get out of control, and I knew it was gonna go kind of like badly in the other way. So I just kind of joined this like glam rock funk weird band. It was super fun though for years, for sure.
It worked.
Yeah, we had a blast. I mean, it was so fun playing shows, living with all your friends, touring the country. And I lived in Philly in that loft, but then I had a place in New York with my girlfriend at the time, Lindsay. So it was just jumping back and forth, taking the Chinatown bus, touring. Drugs were still fun. We had epic parties. Yeah, it was great. It was a really fun time. And it's like
ambient fucking.
There's ambient fucking you can hear all across. Like
constantly
oh my God.
Atmospheric.
I remember one time somebody was like talking shit on one of the guy's girlfriends, like, and it was just like he was going on, and then she's like, I can hear you.
Like
right?
there was no distance between
Nothing.
mouth and ear.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we have a lot of random connections over the years that we like didn't find out until.
Who did you know? Oh, Joe
years of
Belek.
friendship.
That was the name of the director. It just hit me. Joe.
I think I got in that video because I was thinking about this the other day. I think I got involved in that video because I was friends with this model chick at the time, Brittany. And shout out to Brittany. I hope you're doing well.
Hell yeah, Brittany.
She was struggling with a lot of the same stuff that I was struggling with at the time. Maybe I shouldn't mention people by name, especially when I'm talking about their struggles. But
it's all right. We all struggle.
Yeah, we were.
Brittany was her code name.
She was lovely though. We used to like smoke weed all the time together and hang out and. But yeah, I think she got me involved in that, and I was pretty sure that this dude Brian was involved in it.
He might have been for sure.
Who?
But I remember Joe definitely directed it because this guy sprayed champagne or beer or something all over his camera, and he was very upset. But it looked like really awesome in the video. I remember just like the liquid hitting.
Yeah,
expensive camera.
That's a good shot.
But yeah, that was fun.
We also went to the same high school.
Right.
We found that out after years of friendship. We didn't know that we went to the same high school.
Right down the street.
Probably just missed each other, like, because you probably graduated right before I
never
started.
graduated. I went for 1 year. I dropped out of 9th grade. So
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I did not go to high school at all.
Damn, that's
so
awesome.
even when I went there, even the parking place that we parked in to come do this interview, we used to like smoke weed in that parking place before school. It was a weird time, man. I hated school and definitely wanted to get out quickly.
Well, as a lesson to all the kids out there who are ambitious, you don't need high school.
Fuck high school.
But
I really always wished I had that like dazed and confused suburban high school experience, which Chad was not that at all.
No,
but like
it's right at 7th and Chestnut.
Yeah,
right
Chad
in the
was
middle
like
of everything.
Chad was like the school where all the kids from the hood who were like a little bit smart or creative went, basically.
Yeah, it was that way.
It was definitely that way.
It was awesome.
It was
I
pretty
had a great
cool.
experience at Chad. Like so many kids that I went to school there with are now like super poppin',
doing stuff,
well-doing artists.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
Like who? If I knew anyone.
Q, he's a rapper. Quentin Russ.
That name rings a bell, actually.
Me.
obviously.
Well,
I went with
Maggie is a successful artist as well.
DJ Sugar Shay was in the class I was in.
Yes.
She's a successful DJ
She's
now.
doing very well.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I might be conflating these two schools, but I know I went to Temple with Quinta Brunson, who's like extraordinarily famous now.
Who is that? I don't know.
She was like a senior at Temple's theater program when I was a
She's an actress.
freshman. Yeah, she's like on a ABC network show or something now, and doing like Olay ads and shit.
Olay.
She's a big deal. But shout out to Quinta Brunson. But
that's an interesting
yeah,
name.
a lot of our kids that I went to Chad with are doing really well now. I met the It's Always Sunny guys.
I remember you told me that you chased them down the street, right?
Yeah, we did. And they were really nice. They were really nice.
Was your high school experience good though, or was it strange?
I look back on it with much beautiful nostalgia and like really wanting to be back there sometimes. Like I would literally piss myself laughing all the time.
At that school?
At that school.
Interesting.
Like piss out of my vagina onto the ground of like 5th and Market. So I right away I made friends with these two dudes named Lewis and Roman, and we called each other the Three Amigops. And it was like a week into 9th grade, and we would walk and take the L together. And I had made a really cool connection with our English teacher, Miss O'Neill, and she gave me a glass jar of honey as a gift. And we were walking to the L stop at 5th and Market, and I go, "Look, guys, look what Miss O'Neill gave me." And Lewis, without hesitation, took it out of my hand and pegged it on the ground as hard as he could, and it splattered everywhere. And I pissed myself laughing.
Dude, just getting out of school. So nothing terrifies me more in the city than like when you're like turning a corner. Like let's say I was turning that corner and all the kids would be getting out of Chad. No, like not when I went there. When I went there, it was like you'd get out of school on a fucking Friday and like we would just be like going down the street like being crazy as fuck. So now when I see like a group of like 14-year-olds or like like and like a pack, I'm like I'm like walking down the opposite direction. I'm crossing the street.
I still have that anxiety when I see like a group. I'm like, they're gonna bust on me. They're gonna
do something. They're either gonna
what
like
are those?
laugh at you or like steal your hat.
They
just
never
something.
would.
And then it's like,
But
what am I gonna fight one 14-year-old and then like 30 of them are gonna jump on me? It's just bad. There's no good move. So I just, I crossed
and like
the street.
in reality, they would never, because we're like cool looking. They wouldn't fuck with us.
I don't know, dude. When those kids are out for blood, maybe not so much Chad, but other schools in Philly, like I'm good. I'm crossing the street. I don't care.
Yeah, you're right. Because Chad is more like artists.
They got a uniform.
Right. We used to paint all over our uniforms.
It was like blue, right?
Collars.
Did they have ties?
You had to wear a tie. You could wear a tie.
You could wear a tie, and you had like a little name tag.
I think boys had to wear a tie. Yeah, we had like a lanyard.
Oh, dude, it's all coming back to me. I used to get yelled at. Whoever was the person who made the uniforms be like in, tucked in and stuff would go crazy. We didn't have
to do that. We painted all over ours, rolled our skirts up and shit.
Okay, yeah, because ours, I remember getting yelled at all the time by a few teachers. It was not good. Is that my final school that I went to? Oh, I went to a hippie school after that called Up at Tina's.
What?
It was Up at Tina's. Like Tina was some lady who was in the suburbs. It's like when like you just could not go to school, you went there, and you like
you just couldn't hack it.
You just couldn't hack it. You had to go there once a month, and then it was like homeschool, and you just had to like write paper. Like I wrote a paper on like acid and fucking shit like that. Like it was not a school.
Wait a minute. So how did like dropping out of high school fare with your
terribly.
Parents? Like how did that go? Like how
They're both
did
teachers.
You get them to?
I didn't, dude. I was really just like I refused to go, and then they were like, you can't live here if you don't go to school. And then I was like, peace, I'm out. And I moved in with this girl that I was seeing,
right?
And stayed there for a couple months. Still can't bring that up to my mom to this day. She will start crying, and
it's traumatic.
A little traumatic, yeah, definitely. And I was like, she would call in and pretend to be my mom, and like so I'd fake sick all the time. That was when I went to Chad. I was just the word is incorrigible. Like, you just couldn't make me do shit. I was just like, no, fuck you, I'll be homeless. Like, I just was like insane. I don't know. I have some
Was that like
karma.
tied in with you knew your destiny? Like you knew
I
what
think
you're
part
here
of me
for?
did. Yeah. Ooh, my bad. Yeah, I just didn't. I was like, I know what I want to do, and school is not it.
Right.
And we're just wasting our time. And I was like, life is short. And I just saw the whole scam from a young age. I was like, what? I'm gonna do this.
Third eye was
Was
fully
just out,
oops.
dude. So in that way, I do have like a lot of like love and respect for my teenage self, even though I made a ton of mistakes.
Do you
but
talk to little Harry?
I do in therapy sometimes, but younger than that, or around that time too. So also my parents split up at that time. My mom left. It was like a weird time for me in general. Yeah, I was just out of control. They had no control over me. It was like the movie Kids. You ever seen the movie Kids? That's kind of
how
how
the movie Kids, but we talk about it all the
that's
time.
how we grew up. It was like we'd skateboard around, we'd all meet at the park, we'd smoke blunts, we wrote graffiti, we'd fight other kids. It was crazy. You know, some of it was super fun and a lot of it was like super scary. Peer pressure-y too, where people were like pushing you to do crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then you're like, oh, those kids are all dead now. Maybe we shouldn't have pushed the limits that much in you know, some of that ways. So, but yeah, definitely interesting.
You won a really big award at a very young age.
I did.
What was that like for you?
Well, it was cool because I didn't care about that at the time, honestly. What I cared about was that, like, I had disobeyed everything that society had told me to do, and it was, like, working for me. So I made, like, a bunch of money when I was, like, 16 and 17, 18, and was getting, like, working with, like, Ludacris and Chris Brown and Beanie Siegel and Kelly Clarkson, and, like, won a Grammy for Ludacris album, which I never cared about the fucking Grammys. Like, I was an artist. I don't care. I still don't really care, but I do in a way, but I care now more than I did then.
You see what it means to the rest of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more of like what it...
But I was young. I mean, I don't think there's many like 17. I was either 16 or 17-year-old, you know, winning Grammys. Like, that was pretty cool.
It's pretty wild.
Pretty wild, definitely. But I didn't watch the Grammys. I didn't know that the Ludacris album was up for a Grammy. You know what I mean?
Were you at the ceremony?
No, I was in the studio. I just lived in the studio. Part of the reason I was called Dirty Harry is because I slept at the studio and I smelled.
It was actually dirty.
Stank. And like Vidal would be like, you can't meet Usher and smell like fucking BO. Like, you have to take a shower. It was like, so it was appropriate. They were like, it doesn't have anything to do with the music. It strictly is that you stink.
Does it have anything to do with Clint Eastwood?
No, not at all.
No.
I had never seen that movie in that age. I've seen it since then.
Right.
It's a fucking cool movie, actually.
Yeah.
Based off Son of Sam.
No, but it was just because you were actually
I was actually
filthy.
stinky, and Dre was nicknamed Dirty Dre. I'm not sure why.
Right.
But that was, so it was like, oh, like I remember the moment where they were like Harry, and they were like, Dirty Harry.
You're like,
That's perfect.
You smell bad. That's crazy. It's a blessing to, you know, we'll talk a little bit about recovery, but like that you've been able to pop so hard at such a young age and be so successful for such a long time, and also be like a spiritually grounded, healing, good person, because unfortunately, you know, we're watching one of our hometown boys like kind of you know really crash and burn. Yeah, I don't want to, you know, say names out of respect, but like somebody from southeastern Pennsylvania is suffering at the hands of like being super successful, super young.
It can be
like,
such a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I said that, I realized that in retrospect, like, that's the thing that's weird about life is like, if you get everything you want, then you just, at least for me or us, like usually just end up dead. you know what I mean?
Soft.
Say that again?
Or you get soft.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Life just makes you very soft when you get everything handed to you.
Totally. And it was weird because I had that explosion, but then Nico's gun was super popping like very quickly too. Like, we were offered deals and the Roots manager wanted to manage us, and we were like popping, but then we fucked that up for sure because of drugs and booze. But
it wasn't the time.
No, I mean, in retrospect, I'm super glad we did. You know what I mean? Because the more successful you are as an addict, it's almost it works against you in a lot of ways. Obviously, you have resources to get help, But most of the time you have resources to tell people to fuck off. You know what I mean?
And your bad behavior is just being rewarded.
Totally. And
so why would you do anything differently?
And I think it took a long time for even my parents to realize how bad I was, because it was like, I was a bad kid. They fought against it, and then shit was really working out for me. And they're like, oh, shit, I guess he's good. You know what I mean? Right. So when it did kind of start rearing its head that I like, no, I have issues beyond just financial stuff, I think it took longer for them to kind of catch up or catch on to that.
So what we're saying here to all the young people who are watching is drop out of high school.
Yeah.
Get
Don't
addicted to drugs.
Listen to anyone.
You'll become super successful, definitely.
No question.
But no, like there's it really speaks to that, like your destiny is your destiny. And that's something I've struggled with a lot over the years of my own entertainment career, where it's like, why am I not like, but you look back and you're like, thank God I didn't pop at that point.
Or with those people or whatever. I mean, it's a very painful industry in general, just like overall. I think it's really high highs and low lows, and a lot of people aren't cut out emotionally or mentally to deal with it. Like, I just was having a conversation yesterday with somebody, and they were like, yeah, so-and-so quit music. And I was like, good. Like, not that they're not talented. They're super talented. But I'm just like, just if you can do something else, do it. You know what I mean? You should do something else. But if you can't, you know, then do this. Then do what you feel like your purpose is. But it's tough. And for me, the interesting thing now is balancing that with being a parent, being in recovery, you know, because those things do come first. But when I was, you know, a teenager and in the band, like, music was number one, you know.
1, 2, 3, 4,
exactly.
5. Yeah.
And really part of the reason that I think I kind of crashed and stopped doing drugs was because it was like I heard someone say this once in a meeting. They were like, it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and then it was rock and roll and drugs, and then it was just drugs. And I was
fun with problems.
Yes, exactly. It's just another way of saying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like those times I was talking about with the band when we were living in the loft, like, partying was still super fun. We still made music. Like, there was a point in the band where I was just like, I think Nick even said it to me. He's like, when's the last time you made fucking music? You know what I mean? And I was like, oh shit, it's been like 9 months. Something like that.
Cold
yeah, it's just true, you know? So, I mean, it sucked for them. They're all fucking crazy people too, but my shit was just more extreme at that time. The band is really where my addiction just like went completely
flourished.
Off. Yeah, just going crazy.
Tell me about that perfectly moves into like, what was early recovery like for you?
It was actually really great.
what was the precipitating event, if there was one, to be like?
I remember the last day I got high. Actually, I had an apartment. Things had kind of been worse, but I had an apartment. I was kind of going to AA a little bit and had gained kind of a like. It was weird, more of like a I don't know, somewhat of morals or something like that. I stopped stealing as much. I would still steal, but I wouldn't steal as much, basically.
Okay.
And I was sleeping in this apartment. It was on Tasker and 16th. I had a air mattress that had a hole on it, so it was just plastic on the ground.
Was this the closet? This was not the warehouse.
No, that was not the warehouse. That was before. See, that's why I said I've been in worse situations. You know what I mean? Like, that was the really bad place to live. And I lived.
But you were still sleeping on a deflated.
Still the same deflated thing that I brought to multiple apartments.
Why not just sleep on the fucking floor at that point?
Because I would fix it. I would like tape it. You know what I mean? And I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't just like sleep on the floor. And it had like a little bit of air. It was more just like, you couldn't get comfortable with this fucking thing. Oh my God. It was like.
That's exactly.
It was brutal, dude. This is nuts.
Every time.
I can't remember if I had blankets. Like, it was like a train. Like, I would tell people I have the train spotting aesthetic when they're like decorating. Right. You know what I mean? Just like the mattress down here.
Heroin shit.
And then like a
I'm
fucking ashtray
right
here. Are you? It's actually kind of, it's a little zen, maybe. I don't know, in the right way.
Yeah, it's minimal. That's what I say. It's Buddhist. Like,
it's
non-attachment.
Right? It's non-attachment to any part of society. Oh my God, comfort, it was crazy. And even when I would get shit, I would like sell shit too. You know what I mean? And I did have a computer at that time though. I had like a little computer that maybe I could make some sort of music with. That's the thing that's kind of cool is like I did create throughout the whole time, whether it was like writing or art or like still trying to make music even through the worst of my addiction.
Yeah.
But I just got high this day and I just was like, this sucks. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody's answering my phone calls. I am not getting high anymore. I'm nodding out. I'm passing out, but I'm not getting high. And I'm not having any fun. And I remember like distinctively like either putting on like Nick Cave or the Rolling Stones or trying to get into a zone of like, yeah, fucking drugs. You know what I mean? And I was just like, this fucking sucks. And I called this girl Ashley. And she had offered before like, yo, I'll drive you to a meeting every day. And she started taking me to meetings and I had this kind of sponsor in name. She was like, fuck that guy. This guy's going to be your sponsor. That's how I met my first sponsor, Will.
Wow. And
he kicked my ass. He like didn't let me get away with shit. He'd be like, you know, you're not special, right? You know what I mean? Or I'd be like talking about all this stuff and he had, that's nothing to do with what we're doing here. You know what I mean? He just sort of like called me out on my shit. And
was he like your first no man? Like
no man? Oh, like telling me no?
As opposed to a yes man?
Maybe. I don't know. I just think I was at a point where like I was open enough to hear some sort of criticism. And he was less gentle, I think, in a way. He was like, I'm pretty sure, actually, because I've hung with him now, like, I'm pretty sure he's autistic. And so he was just like, that has nothing to do with the book or whatever. You know what I mean? He just...
probably a real value to that, like bluntness.
Exactly, just bluntness and exactness. And like, yeah, he just would tell me the truth. So I've even had like other sponsors since him that were more gentle or less hands-on. He was pretty hands-on, like, no, we're going through the steps, like... Well, I did the steps very quickly. So to answer your question, early recovery was pretty great, actually. Like, I hear a lot of people talking about how hard it was, and I think it was hard in a lot of ways, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's just, like, grace, or if I made a decision, or it was so bad that it just couldn't get any worse, and this shit just got better. But it was, like, it was kind of nice, man. Like, I kind of just started, like, laughing and smiling a little bit, going to the diner, going to a ton of meetings, being honest where I was at, telling people when I wanted to use.
Probably, like, simplified your life in a lot of ways.
Incredibly simplified. That was, like, the biggest thing. It was actually maybe the time in my life I did the least amount of music.
Yeah, you said that to me before, where it was, like, a relief.
It was. Because it was such an identity thing. I had no idea who the fuck I was. Like, I remember one day being like, maybe I'm going to be someone who, like, wears bow ties. Like, that was, like, a consideration of a personality to fucking try on. I don't know what influenced that. Or just shit like that. Or, like, oh, shit.
Get sober. Be a bow tie man.
Yeah, dude. Tucker Carlson this bitch out.
Yeah. Wow. I talked about Tucker Carlson and Chris's, too.
Did you really?
Yeah. He came up.
He's the man.
Spiritual breadcrumbs. Maybe we'll...
Fucker Carlson. But the...
maybe we'll get married.
It was nice. It was great. And then I started getting this spiritual thing happening, and that was fucking sick.
You feel good. You feel healthy.
Meditation. And then I'd have like little bits where like my past would come up and haunt me, and it would be like so terrifying. I'd be like, oh no. Like I remember once having a panic attack because this guy had reached out to me who I felt like I owed something to in the past, and just being like this terrible, dready feeling like, oh no, everything's going to fall apart. This good shit's going to fall apart, you know. But go to a meeting, you talk about it, and then...
Did you have to make a lot of amends?
Yeah. Yeah, but that was great. Terrified for the first one. It was a store on South Street, a punk store. You probably know them, but...
Zipperhead.
Yeah, but then...
I know those guys. That guy lived right around the corner from me.
He's a sweetheart. God bless that guy.
Cool, Rob.
So I made amends to them, and he was super nice about it, and I was jammed up. I was terrified to do that one, but it was all good. Made amends to, like, those ones were kind of easy, actually, in a way, because you go in.
Wait, you made amends to Rob?
Yeah.
Wow, for what?
I stole from their store.
Okay.
Nothing crazy, just, like, some T-shirts or something.
Hold on. Real quick.
Yes.
Do you remember guacamole? Would you have a reason to remember guacamole on South Street?
I kind of do.
My mom used to take me there. It was right across from Zipperhead, I think. It was right next to that flower shop.
But not the Eyes Gallery.
No.
Guacamole, I do remember guacamole.
I got some really cool shit there. My mom was like a groovy little chick.
It
and
was
she
like
used to
art.
take me to
It was like
Guacamole.
art store, supply store, or something like that. What the hell was
No, it was like a chick, like a hot chick store.
it? Okay, I
And
do
it was,
remember
like,
the
very
outside and that
90s.
name for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the old zipper head was the shit when it was that, the building with the
that
zipper
John
in
is
it.
still there.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
know
a
that-
pizza store with the fucking ants and zipper on it now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But it used to be two like storefronts. It was both those storefronts combined, and one was like clothes, and one was records and CDs and stuff. It was cool. South Street was fucking cool as fuck back then.
I
Now
was
it
really
sucks.
little when it became Crash Bang Boom right around the corner.
Okay. I was into punk and went there like young, like 11 or 12. That's another reason that I got like
R.I.P. South Street, dude.
yeah.
Like,
My mom
seriously.
lives down there too still. It's weird. It's different.
Yeah, it's very different.
But what the fuck was I saying? Oh, amends. So it was amazing making amends. And then like to people you get free like cuz you don't think about okay, I'm going into this store, right? This record store, whatever it is. I'm like, "Hey, bro, I stole 3 records. I owe, I'm in recovery. I owe you $60. Can I pay you back?" And they like, I've had a place where the guy was like, "Dude, you don't know like what this means. Like, all these people have been stealing from me recently. Like, you're restoring my faith in humanity." And you think it's about you, and then you're like, "Oh shit, it's about a lot more than that." And then instead of walking down that street and going like, "Fuck, that's that record store I stole from,"
You feel that sinking in your heart.
yeah, you're just like, "Fuck, I'm a piece of shit," and you go on that whole negative rant. Instead, you walk by and you go, "Dude, remember that fucking experience?" I'm getting chills talking about. Remember that experience where you fucking went there and you paid? Now you can walk by with your head high and be like, "What's up, dude? Like, fuck yeah, you're still sober, great." You know what I mean? So just that. Yeah, I mean, dude, I was nervous at a store that I stole from where the guy chased me down and we kind of got into a little bit of a scuffle. Well, he ripped my shirt off by trying to grab me. We didn't like fight, and then so I was like a little nervous to make that amends, but it went great. So it's like I don't know. I've done them all. I'm sure there's ones that might pop up. Like if I saw some random person and I'd be like, "Oh shit, I totally forgot about this," but I pretty much knocked all of them out, including really uncomfortable ones. At this point, I just fucking do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been clean almost 9 years now, so, but the first couple of years, yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but it's extremely freeing. The really important ones are the ones that are not like just one and done. You know what I mean? It's like I put my
living
mom through
amends.
hell, so now when she's annoying me or calls me to help her do something, I'm kind of like, all right, let me just take care of that. Let me be a better son than I was.
So that would be what you would probably call living amends.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just like being better
Yeah.
forever.
Forever. Be better forever. Easy.
Just be better forever.
Forever.
Stop doing what you're doing.
Well, it's so much easier to
Always.
just go through a checklist of like, all right, cleaned up that shit. You know what I mean? Which is great and important. And it can get deep. I mean, this shit gets fucking deep. I've had sponsees who it's like, yo, I robbed fucking 10 liquor stores. Like, how do I make amends to that? Or I raped this woman. How do I make amends to it? And it's like, it's challenging to them be on the other side of that, like, and try to give advice and not have judgment or hatred towards people for certain awful things. But also it can be complicated where you're like, I don't know if you should turn yourself in for like murder. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if I want to like show my face back in this person's life and like,
yeah,
remind them of whatever. But it brings me to the concept like I've been thinking about a lot lately, where these things that we do, both in recovery and our spiritual life, just in our healing journey in general, these things that we face that take a small amount of time but a lot of energy raises the vibration of the rest of your life.
Oh, like crazy.
So like, you could exist at this one place and just coast along there and do whatever you're doing, but when you face this trauma and you really look at it and you get down with your like shadow work,
Mm-hmm.
when you do that shadow work, it lifts the whole rest of your life.
Going from hopeless to hopeful is pretty powerful fucking transition. And when you go, you know, to like a world that you believe is ugly, and, you know, because when you're in an addiction, at least for me, in my experience, like I had to make the world seem ugly, like an ugly place, because I felt ugly inside and I wanted to, you know what I mean? So it's like, you're not really seeing the good in the world, and then to switch that off and be like the freedom of like, oh my God, I don't have to stay near Kensington or I'm going to be completely sick. And you can be like, oh shit, I can get sushi today. Like I can go fucking buy a t-shirt, you know, I can have sex. Like, you know what I mean? Or like, it's like the world starts expanding and becomes this huge thing and bigger than it was before I even started drinking and drugging in a way. 'Cause you know yourself on this level, like, oh man, I had some funny ones. Like even my first job in recovery, I was a security guard at a pop-up Halloween store on Walnut Street. You know those Halloween whatever they're called. What the
Spirit.
Spirit. I was, because they were like, you look like you know when people are stealing or something. I was like missing a tooth or two, and I remember like
my own
being on break, and I saw this person who I knew from like the music industry from before. And I'm just smoking a cigarette. I'm not wearing anything like crazy. And I'm talking. I'm like, what's up, man? How you been? I'm faking like my life is good. Like I literally have like maybe 18 days clean or something like that. And then I had to go back to the front of the store, and I'm like wearing my security guard. Like I think I had like a witch hat and the security guard John. And the dude walked by and saw me and just gave me like a eyebrow raise. And
this is what you're doing now.
He didn't say anything. He just kept walking, but he was like, what the fuck? And it was so embarrassing and so humbling that I just immediately just laughed. It was just funny.
You gotta laugh.
I was like, fuck it. This is my life now. Like, it's better I'm fucking doing this shit clean than whatever the fuck I was doing before. And you gotta kind of not give a fuck anymore, you know? It's that, like, unshedding of stuff. So early recovery was great. It was cool. It was definitely, it was an adventure.
Did you finally get a new air mattress?
Yeah, definitely.
I
think I moved up to like an actual bed. All the shit was crazy. Going to like a grocery store for the first time was wild experience, because I don't even know what the fuck, how I even ate or what I did to survive. But like doing that.
Surviving on nerd balls.
Exactly.
And kindness.
Hot pockets and shit. Hot pockies. And then, yeah.
Surviving on the grace of God.
Dude, crazy. Oh my God.
What's the poorest thing you've ever done?
Ooh. Poorest thing I've ever done. I mean, there was a lot of shoplifting for sure. I would take Xanax a lot, which just makes you like steal everything.
Yeah, them
like
Xanny steals.
Like I'd wake up the next day with like lawn like gnomes. Like, why did I fucking steal this?
It's like munchies, but like,
oh my God.
Like when you get high on THC, you gotta eat. When you get high on Xanax, you gotta steal.
Just no fear, dude.
And when
I would
you get
walk
high
into a
on
store.
some, like Seroquel, you gotta get behind the wheel of a car.
I did Seroquel one time, and it literally knocked me. I couldn't even walk. I just kept getting up and falling on my head. It was bad. Yeah, that shit is crisp. It's like Thorazine.
Shit is crispy.
Definitely Seroquel is not a good time. Don't do that.
Nah. They put me on that shit in rehab, yo.
That's the time I took it, yeah. And it was awful. Like,
Did
I took
you, like,
extra.
try to stay awake?
No, I just remember I took it, and then they had to, like, take my blood, and I just kept falling out, like, blacking out and hitting my head on the wall. And they were like I couldn't stay awake.
That's
but not in a fun way.
Professionalism right there. They're just watching you continually.
Yeah, they're like,
out.
you took something. And I'm like, no, I'm just tired. And I'm just blacking out on Seroquel. Because I was like roommates with this like super jailed out dude. And he was just like, yeah, he was like, the boost bar. He's like, you got to crush it. And then you snort it. And then you blow. And then you drink orange juice. And you get this little rush. Like he knew all these like little ways
Hacks.
to kind of get high that were just like really bad. Ugh. What a terrible fucking time. I remember that guy.
So great to be free from all that. It's just like finding any way that you can just get a little hit.
Oh my God, it was crazy. One time the dude sold me, which I knew was just sleep. Like he just sold me like sleeping pills, like crushed up, and it was a bundle, which is like $100 worth. He fronted it to me, and I did it all, like on a bus to New York.
How? Like, did you?
I just snorted it,
Yeah.
but and then just slept and woke up so groggy in New York, like barely able to walk to the.
Were you like going to a session or something?
No, I was going to my girlfriend's house who lived up there at the time. So, and then she had real shit as soon as I landed, which was cool. But yeah, but I just did it all. I knew it was fake, but I still just did it all to just get something. I mean, that's the thing. You're just chasing sleep if you're into opiates half the time. So, but the poorest thing I ever did, I don't even know. There's so much.
So many poor things that I've done.
I mean, I never ate out of the garbage. No judgments to those who have.
Oh my God.
I mean, I
God
didn't
bless.
bathe for a long time, and I like would wear the same clothes a lot.
Dirty Harry.
Yeah, dude.
Stay true to the name.
Totally.
If there's anyone out there listening right now that's experiencing food insecurity, there are so many
Good places to steal
resources in
from.
Philly.
Like, no.
Well, there's like hella fridges
That's dope.
around the city. There's a list of them online somewhere if you can get access to the internet.
I'm trying to even.
There are options.
I don't even know how I ate. Like, I'm literally thinking
Dude,
about it
I
now,
remember living in. Let me grab this door. I remember living in a motel on Hollywood and Vine for 2 weeks.
Nice.
Because seriously, like, I'm not going to tell this story because I'm not going to railroad it, but like, some kind stranger put me up in a motel on Hollywood and Vine for 2 weeks when I was homeless in LA.
That's a come up.
And there was no fridge in there. So I would just like eat, because I was committed to veganism. So I would just like eat tofu, unrefrigerated, just like slice that bitch up.
Fire.
That's a pretty poor
Yeah, that's pretty poor.
thing to do.
I definitely slept in a bush one time, just for a night or two, and I remember scaring the fuck out of this couple who was on this like nice romantic date, and I was just like, I have to get up out of this bush to pee, and I just like, they're just chilling, talking. I'm like, don't want to interrupt them, and then I just get up, and they're just like, oh shit, holy shit, there's somebody in this bush, and I'm just like mutter like, oh, I'm sorry, or something like that. It was the Vietnam War memorial. Memorial. Yeah, dude.
Were you high? I mean, probably weren't.
I wasn't
early
high in that
sobriety
moment. I think I was
sleeping
kind of
in a
like kicking dope. It was not fun, dude. Like, I can't remember.
Wait, is that in Rittenhouse or Washington?
No, it's like near like South Street and like Front and South, like near there.
Oh my God, like on the waterfront?
Yeah, like right across from like kind of the water. Yeah, over there. It's just like a bush.
Not abundant bushes over there.
And it sucks, dude. This is what like I've only slept like rough like that a few times in my life. You can't get comfortable. Your legs are cold, then you put your jacket around your legs. Then your arms are cold. So you just do that all night.
Oh.
Don't really sleep. Like, it's brutal, dude. I don't wish that. That's why you see people who are chronically homeless. You're just like, woof. My heart goes out to you people.
God bless, man.
Yeah, man. Or just go to a diner. Most of the time, I would just stay up all night. I'd go to a diner, get a cup of coffee, and just fucking drink it and read the fucking same magazine over and over again. This is when I was like super duper down and out. So yeah, that's not a great time. That would probably be the poorest thing I've ever done. Sleep in a bush.
I think that takes it.
That might take the cake. But what a wild life.
It's so wild to think back on that stuff now that we're like,
dude, I will never forget this guy in Puerto Rico. I think about this almost every day. So I was trying to cop dope in Puerto Rico, and I went to this area called La Perla, which is the area that like the police don't even go into. It's wild. It's right next to Old San Juan, and it's like a shack town, but that's where the shit is. And I went there to try to get dope, and they didn't have dope, and it was one of the few times in my life where I smoked crack. So I'm smoking crack with these Puerto Rican dudes, and dope sick as fuck though. So it's like crack high when you're dope sick is not fun. And I remember this.
It's not what your receptors are looking for.
Exactly. But a dude had a shower there, and I remember this other homeless guy was with us because I went to him to be like, yo, where can I find some dope? Yeah. And for whatever reason, he was buddies with the guy, and the guy was like, oh, yeah, you could take a shower. And the guy was like, I haven't taken a hot shower in 8 years. That's what he said, and he took a hot shower. So I think about that all the time when I'm taking a shower. I go, fuck, some people haven't taken showers in 8, 10, 20 years. So, yeah, I think about that all the time. Just, I got a fucking nice-ass house now. It's cozy as fuck.
Take a shower whenever you want.
Take a shower or a bath. I got a fridge full of food. What the fuck am I complaining about, man?
Yeah, dude.
So it's pretty cool. Like, I cherish those life experiences, even though they were, like, you know, nightmarish at the time, really bad. Like, agony, like, some of the most agony I think a person can kind of go through in life is addiction, really bad addiction. Yeah. But it's great now. It's like I have such a source I can just grab from. So that's why it's nice to talk about this shit, you know. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's miraculous. If you're out there going through early recovery, man, just never forget that you're experiencing a miracle, and
oh, for sure.
Take care of yourself.
That's what made me want to ask my newest sponsor, who's been my sponsor for like 5 years, to sponsor me. He came and spoke at this rehab commitment. Dude's worth millions and millions of dollars. And he's like, most important thing in my life is recovery. You know what I mean? And he said, in recovery, you become your own superhero. And I'm like, fuck yeah. That's what made me ask him. 'Cause it's true. I mean, that's what I'm doing. And it's super rad. And that's actually a little bit part of the reason why I'm very determined to become super successful now, is I kind of want to be like, yo, you can fucking be at the bottom of the barrel and pull yourself up and dust yourself off and try again, to quote Aaliyah. Yeah.
If at first you sleep in a bush.
I was thinking the same thing. First you go to sleep, you dust yourself off and scare those people. Scare those fucking people with the bush.
In the bush.
Something kind of freeing about being homeless, too. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Like, you don't owe anyone anything. I mean, you've had home insecurity before, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's interesting.
There's something I do romanticize that time. Not so much that I miss it.
The hotel time?
The whole thing of, like, sober livings and crashing on people's floors. Like, there was something so beautiful
about sober livings, though.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that. But, like, now that I'm in a position where I can be like, all right, I promise my inner child, I keep a picture of my baby self in a frame in my apartment, and I talk to her all the time, and I'm like, I promise I will never let you, like, get back there again.
Fire.
Yeah. So I now that, like, I'm experiencing some unbelievable gifts of recovery, thank God.
It takes a while to get out, because, I mean, yeah, it is tough at the beginning, too. I'm probably wrapping it up in this very, like, you know, because I have kids now and big bills, and I'm like, early recovery was so chill. And I think in some ways it was, but it was also had its extreme challenges, too. Sure. And I had a lot less.
You're learning how to walk on new legs.
It's crazy.
Like,
it's scary to do anything. It's scary to apply for a new job. I didn't even know if I could make music again without drugs. I didn't know if I could have sex without drugs. Like, I didn't know what the fuck or who I was. Like, it was a pretty clean slate type situation. So but I did realize that I thought I was a lot worse, and I was fucking bad obviously on drugs, but I thought I was a lot worse in terms of, like, people hated me a lot more than they did, or that I was, you know, my self-importance was wacko. Like, I thought I was so incredibly more important than I actually was, you know.
There's something relieving about that.
Freeing.
Yeah. I have that moment a lot in meetings where I'm like, okay, like, nobody's focusing on you.
Fuck no.
Like, nobody's...
Beyond,
like,
in life in general, everybody, you're like, oh, it's so, you know, everyone's so self-obsessed. They're all thinking about themselves all the time. So, I mean, addict or not addict, it's just like, you can do whatever you want. Nobody, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Anyway, that's the real freedom. That's definitely not easy. It's definitely a work in progress. But if you can truly not give a fuck about what people think, you know, the Stoics, like, you know, the Stoic philosophers, the one dude who I love, he used to wear ridiculous shit, so that the rest of the whatever the political thing he was in would mock him, to help strengthen his inner strength of like, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks.
Damn.
Isn't that gangster?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that level. That's
You're
level
not
7.
ready to wear a jester hat to
Yeah,
the next
exactly.
session.
But it's pretty badass, dude.
Yeah. That brings me perfectly into we're at like 55 minutes.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Okay,
Whatever.
cool. Is Chris okay? Like, she's not going to be out there?
I'm at Prime Mart. I'll be back soon.
Okay. She's not going to be, like, waiting?
No.
Okay. Brings me to, you're a little bit of a history nerd.
Yes.
What is your favorite, because you like all the USSR stuff. You know a lot about that. You know a lot about mob history.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm really
And
into
Nazis.
medieval shit.
That's dope.
And back then, the longer and pointier your shoes were, it was like a sign of wealth.
That's kind of the shit in Mexico now, too. I don't know if you've seen the guys with the pointy boots. That shit is wild.
The twins from Breaking Bad with the skulls.
But they go even, they go just like, you know.
Is that one picture that goes around the internet real? Of the guy
with the guy with
like
the
in
Jones?
front of his face?
Shit is crazy. You're just... And in whatever town he's in, like in Oaxaca, they're like, yo.
Imagine how regal
Jorge's
that makes you feel, though. Like,
yeah, dude, that probably feels good walking around that shit.
Feels so important.
Just, whoop. Yeah, you say my boots are loud. Imagine those fucking things.
Hey, you see them coming.
This shit's crazy.
For like a few feet before he enters.
If you had the long boots plus the long fingernails, like the Howard Hughes Jones,
just lengthen
like,
yourself. I'm the main character of everybody's story.
Yes, exactly.
I enter a room.
I am to be taken seriously.
Seriously. So what's your drop some history bombs on me? Like, what are some of your favorite facts?
Ooh, just some factoids.
There's some facts.
I mean, you know about Rasputin?
Nah.
You don't know shit about Rasputin? Oh, dude, you would love Rasputin.
He's like a little bit of a dandy, right?
No.
Was he like a dandy?
He was like
he's a magic man.
He was a magic man.
He was the magic man.
So he went off and was like, he's from Georgia, the country. And this was like the last czar, who's like the kings of Russia. And he was this magic guy. And so it was czar. The czar had a son, Alexander, who they didn't know, but he had like not is it hemophilia? What's the thing where if you get a cut, you don't stop bleeding? Like his blood didn't clot.
I think that's what it is.
So he had that. This guy was like this mystic guy who could also fuck like 15 times a day. Like that was like another thing that he was very famous for. And he could heal this kid. They still don't know why or how, but he could heal. So he got in the graces of the czar and the czarina or whatever. I forget her name. So this is like what's her name's Anastasia's parents. You know, like so anyway, they had a bunch of kids, and there was like rumors in Russia that like he was fucking the queen basically. Whoa. And they didn't know, they couldn't say that the kid had this disease and that Rasputin was the only person to heal it. So no one knew why this weird creepy dude was cool with it'd be like the equivalent of like, I don't even know.
Chris Angel.
Yeah, being like with the president.
With
like,
Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Yo,
but like maybe even beyond
Chris Angel.
And
Michelle
like
Obama.
Maybe, who's the guy?
David Blaine.
No, who's the dude who is the pickup artist? It'd be like if that guy. But also that guy was into like
hats
black
with the
magic.
Furry leopard hats.
Exactly.
He's awesome.
So yeah, like Rasputin was wild. This woman tried to kill him and stabbed him, and all his like organs and intestines fell out, and he still like survived somehow. He like put them back in. Like
it's like the Wim Hof of that time.
He did have all this. He had something going on for sure.
Right.
And then these other people around him tried to kill him. They poison him. They're having dinner with him. And these are not like your regular like hard ass assassins. They're like political, you know what I mean? Like they'd be like what Congress is, but in, Tsar turned into censored Russia. They're trying to poison him and he's not fucking dying. And they're like, what the fuck? We gave him like mad cyanide. He's just like laughing and like eating. So then they fucking shoot him in the head. Then they go upstairs for a little bit. They come down. He's gone. They follow a blood trail out They shot him in the head and poisoned him.
Is this real?
I swear to God.
This is really
Then
what
they
happened.
shot him a bunch more times, and then they rolled him up in a carpet, and he was dead now. Then they threw him in the river, and then when they found him, there was signs that he was still alive, like in the carpet. So, and it was a big
Wild.
part of the downfalling of that czar who they killed. And they killed all his kids, too. They killed the queen, the czar, and all the kids. Now, apparently, one of his daughters survived. That's Anastasia. That's what the like Disney movie is basically like based off of.
Wow.
And many people over the years have claimed to be her, but it's pretty sure that she did die. But yeah, so that ended. So that's the like communist, like Lenin took over from that czar, and that was part of their thing. Was like,
So was that like the 1700s or?
no.
Earlier?
It was 1917. So
What?
Yeah. Like,
That was-
this was not that long ago.
No.
This was like 100 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy shit.
You think about shit like that, you think it's in like the 1500s. You don't realize.
I mean,
that,
people like complain about 2020. It's like, yeah, we're going through some shit. Fucking research 1920.
What about like
research-
528? Have
Oh,
you ever
the
watched
worst year,
videos
yeah,
about
of
the
course. That
worst
shit is
year ever?
insane, dude.
Yeah.
And there were so many plagues and insecurities and
Right.
like, you know,
Not like popping boobos out here.
it's not like, why are we wearing a mask? Who's trans? Like, it was like everybody, all of my children have died, all 13 of them. And yeah, wild shit. And then you got like literally like World War I and then the Great Depression. And then your kids were in World War II, you know, back to back. Like World War II, the entire world was at war. So anyway, that's some crazy history shit. This stuff, I literally watch, you know, Nazi documentaries, communist Russia, North Korea, stuff to like relax at night because it just puts my problems in great perspective.
Yeah.
My quote unquote problems.
Yeah, my God. I've been haunted by this image. You know how like when you open a new tab on your web browser, there's like articles on the new tab page. There's this article that keeps popping up where it's like, oh, I could cry just thinking about this image. Like men, it looks like it might be in the 20s, like lined up with bowls in their hands.
Oh, crazy.
And they're like waiting to be fed. And it's like that, and that's our battery.